logging in is secure. We use Active Directory or RACF, ACF2. Really, we can support any kind of login system, even if you have a homegrown one. Once you're logged in, what we can see here is the assistant pops up. This is the AI that helps people perform searches and other tasks without really knowing how. You just click and you kind of communicate with it. Has a dynamic help, so every time you're whatever screen you are, it pops up the videos and the help topics that are appropriate. And a cheat sheet assistant to show you all the syntax that we support, proximity searches, synonyms, dates, all kind of nifty things we do. Over here, we have the history of the last searches I've done. I can also see all the searches anyone has done. We have applications. Those are kind of widgets that were built using our APIs that add on to SmartES. A bunch of reports, like orphan reports, most used assets reports, and so forth. Inventory, I wanted to show you. The inventory basically tells you what currently is loaded in the system. So we are looking at a system that has almost 300 different silos of information, totaling 60 million lines and 664,000 members. So you can see some of these are nothing to do with code, domains, firewall information, hardware inventory. Some of these are just distributed code, Oracle, tables, procs, procedures, views, documents. We have, what else do we have here? JCLs, mainframe, access, database, open systems, Java, SQL, PLSQL, Unix. So it's really a sleuth of all kind of information. We also support just documents. So documents, we have CSV files, emails, GDPRs, HTML files, ICD-9 conversions, logs, manuals, office documents, receipts, and so forth. So the rule is this: if the human eye can see it, we support it. That's what we always tell our clients. To date, we have many Fortune 500 clients using the product, and we've never come to a situation where there was data we could not support. So let's talk about the simplicity of the product. It's super easy to use. It usually requires no training. We have to fight with clients to allow us to give training. And the reason is because with a little bit of training, you could do so much more. But, you know, so be it. Even without training, if I was here and searching for everything, so you can break down the search by data type, which is, we said we have about 300 data types, or language. So it's the same information, but for example, if you choose COBOL, you're basically choosing all these data types. So it's the same information. If you choose type document, you're choosing all these types of document data types. And the difference between document and non-document, we don't do cross-reference, hyperlinks, complexity analysis, language analysis inside documents. We just index and allow all the other features like synonyms and saved queries. All right. And the last group, the way is search by groups. So group is a group of data types. For example, if we went to mainframe, it's searching all these data types that make up the mainframe group. It's a logical view into the same information. If we go to data types and we just select all of them, and we just type, for example, invalid user as an error message, we do a search. Usually searches come back very quickly, under 3-4 seconds. This one took 2 seconds. And what we see here in front of us is the following. Here is a result of all the programs it found, elements it found. Here is an insight. These are little like widgets that we've added that pop up when you do a search. This one is for search result statistics. So what it does, it breaks down the results and tells you, all right, in all these results, these are the data types I found. This is how many of each data type and how many hits and how many lines of code. In fact, you could actually come here and say if you only want to see 4GL, it'll instantly limit the 4GL and kind of filter it out for you. If you want to add to that annotations, it'll add the annotations. So it's very easy to use. And then you can just check out the hits. The hits is the lines that contain your criteria. And so we can go here and see all these hits. Everywhere where we had invalid user is showing up. So if, for example, see this is comment, this is code, different kind of, this is string. SmartTS has the ability to focus and limit only on code, comments, strings. So if we were to go back and do the search, and we said, well, the invalid user was an error message, pops up on the screen, chances are it came from a string, we can go to fields, and the common fields are here. So we can say we want to do a search of a string, and the string will contain invalid user. So now it's the same search, but it's going to focus only on strings. So what we'll get back from the system will be less noise, more focus, targeted, all the strings that have in them invalid user. I did all hits report. All hits means shows me every single line of code in every single program that has the string that we're looking for. So here they are. Everything and anything you see in SmartTS can be exported as an artifact. And that's kind of nice. So if I want this report, because this now is a report I can hand off to developers and tell, look guys, you have the type of information, you have the program, you even have the line numbers. And by the way, if you click on a line number, you jump to that program, to that line directly. So you can export this report. Before we export it, I'm going to do one more thing because I want to give the developer a bit of context about the lines. I'm going to ask for 4 lines before and after each hit, because that way they can see the logic of the code, and that's better. I'm going to take this and send it to, export it to the system. I'm going to use HTML format. This is the, I want to say that this was the invalid, all hits invalid user report. And I have the folders that are just internal places where the system stores the intermediate results. Every user has their own area. I'm going to create a folder for Leanne and export, and it's asynchronous. We can continue to work. Eventually, the notification bell will light up telling me it's there. So we can continue to work right now. So we did a search. We did an all hits report, and we exported the actual results. We can also export this group if we want to. If it's important to us, we can also export this group as well. All right, that was a very, very quick, like mile high overview. Oh, it just came in. Let me go have a quick look at the report. It's in the Leanne folder, and we can download it, delete it, view it, or I can email it, and here I can email it to Leanne if you wanted this, but it's fake, so I'm not going to email it to you. All right. So that was like a mile high, and now I'm going to go into a little bit deeper. So another nice example is saved queries. There's just so much, Leanne, I just don't want to overload you, but I'm just going to show you something really cool. So we have saved queries. Queries are basically created by a person, and then anybody else can use them. So the system comes with a whole bunch of saved queries. For example, this saved query here will automatically find all the SQL commands. So if you run this saved query on, let's say, language, or let's say not language, the search group. If I ran this on my mainframe and on my distributed, I would automatically find every single location that has SQL commands across all my distributed and mainframe platforms, and here they are. I could click on one of these as an example. So here's all the SQL commands. So, and again, this whole all hits, if you do an all hits, you're going to get all the SQL commands in all your systems, and you can export that as a report. That was a static saved query because I just clicked and it plucked it in the search box. Sometimes the saved queries are dynamic. I'll give you an example. So I'm going to go to the Costco and look for receipts. It's dynamic, meaning it's going to prompt me, and there it is. There's the prompt. enter from value. So I want to find receipts that are between $200 and between, oh God, sometimes we spend up to too much there, $900. And I'm looking for an item that was lamb. So it builds you a complex Boolean proximity search. And now I'm going to select the data type of receipts. So that's where this information is. I'm filtering up here. You see, this little window allows you to filter because there's so many data types. So you can easily and quickly filter to receipts and search. And what this does is, because we've loaded these documents, it first shows you the text we managed to pull out of the receipts, which is the amount between 200 and 900, has the lamb, but you can also up here see the original receipt. So it kind of ties everything together. Another fascinating sales query, if you ask me, and I've been using this a long time and it's just mind-boggling, is how easy it is to find business rules, business logic, things that are happening. So, for example, there's a sales query that lets you find, on the mainframe one, that lets you find legacy value to field. So it actually tells you where are we moving a certain value to a certain field. And any user can use it because it requires zero knowledge. So I clicked the query, it prompts the user, where are we moving a Y or a Z or a G or an S or an, I don't know what, X, okay? And then what's the field or part of a field name? I don't know, tax or code. So now it builds this criteria, which is quite a clever criteria because it's using the keyword, the field X string to limit the strings, the proximity keyword to limit proximity of items, and it's using Boolean commands of OR. Let's see what we find here. So what we're looking for is all the locations in the entire company that we're moving values to specific fields. And let's have a look at these hits. And we have it. So look how fast it took us to come up with a very detailed accountability of all the places we're moving specific value to specific field, and I can export this as an artifact for everybody to use and pass it on, as we say. All right, I'm going to show you one more thing before I click the send button to shoot it off to you, and it's kind of an encompassing thing again. So I'm going to do a search for a main program, TTC095. I'm searching everything, see what comes up. So it's a program that has in it all kind of, it's linked to the whole system, our whole systems here. You can see here that the search result statistics found 77 items, and some of them are remedy trouble tickets, so it's a document. Annotations, I didn't talk about that, but you have the ability to annotate any piece of text you want in our system. Documents again, Microsoft, PowerPoints, Visio, flowchart. So that's interesting, by the way. If you look at the Visio flowchart, if you look at the flowchart here, then when you click on it, this is the text that it managed to get out of the Visio, but it also gives you access to the actual flowchart itself. So you can actually see Visio without having to install Visio on your computer, which is kind of nice. But that's not what I wanted to show you. What I wanted to show you here was we have 77 documents that came up, and now I can do an action. These actions here all apply to all these documents here. If I were to click on a document, then these actions apply to that one module, that one document. But the actions up here are applying to all these documents. So one of the actions is search then xref. And what that does, it allows me to select a few or one or all and generate a report, a graphical visualization, how things are working together as a unit. So what it did, it drew me a graph of how all these items are working as a unit. And mind you, some of these are like a PowerPoint, a PDF, so it's not just code. It has the ability to go and to link documentation as well into your chart. So here's the chart. Putting the mouse over shows you the lines of code making the links. So you can see exactly why there's links. I think that's very interesting. Of course, there's a flow charting and there's cross-reference reports and field tracking. I'll show that to you on the demo. But I think a nice thing to show here is the Advanced XF report. It's kind of a nice report, Orphans report. So this Orphans report, you can choose a data type, any data type, or a few, and it figures out if they're orphans. You see, right now we have 219 orphans in these data types. And what does it mean, orphan? It means that nobody's calling it. It's not calling anyone. It's not mentioned anywhere. And so chances are it's an orphan. Anyway, that was a very quick kind of just tip of the iceberg, just to give you a taste. I can't wait till tomorrow, and looking forward to talking to you. All the best, Leanne. Signing off, it's Shlomo from Income Data.